Rose a Crafter, and I want to thank you for joining me for another video on my YouTube channel. Today's video is a little bit of a look back at some projects that I've created in the past for the holidays. I'm sharing 4 different crafts with you, and all of which I have videos for, and I'll be sure to link those videos for you in the description box below. The cards featured today can be found in 2 different playlists on my channel. One is called Holiday Cards and the other one is called Christmas in July Series 2022. I hope this video inspires you for your holiday crafting. Let's jump in. So I want my tags to have kind of a blue sky in the background, maybe even fading into nighttime, so that you can see the snow and the stars in the sky above the houses. So I'm going to start creating this background by laying down some tumbled glass distress ink. If you have followed along with me on YouTube for any amount of time, then you know that ink blending is my jam. So I'm going to make sure that I get a good layer of this first ink down, and then I'm going to work my way up the colors and then work my way back. So now it's time to bring in the tags and make our die cuts of the tags. So I'm going to use the second to the largest die, and that happens to fit nicely on a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size Neenah Classic Crest Solar White paper. So I've taken those to my die cutting machine, and I was able to cut 2 tags from that one panel. I'm using a couple of pieces of Easy C tape to glue the tag to the back of the stencil. And you can see here I'm gonna make a mistake, and I like to leave when I make mistakes in my videos because it shows the realness of crafting. Sometimes you make mistakes and you just need to be able to recover from them. Here I'm realizing, I used the wrong kind of paste. That is the plain white paste, and like I said earlier, I wanted to use the glitter paste. So instead of picking that up and starting all over, I'm just going to get the glitter paste, and I'm going to add the glitter paste to the rest of the stencil. So I'm going to bring in 3 which are non-traditional Christmas colors, but trust me, when we pull them all together, it's going to be definitely give that holiday vibe. I chose a couple of sentiments from the Cozy Town stamp set. One says stay cozy and the other one says may your days be merry. I stamped those onto some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock and cut those out off camera. And now I'm going to pop them up a little bit so that they stand out from the tag. So I went into my stash of ribbons and just pulled out a bunch that I felt like coordinated with the tags. I've got a little bit of twine, I've got some pom-pom ribbon, and I've got a couple of colors of satin ribbon as well. So here I'm deciding to tie a bow, and after I get that bow tied, I'm like, I really don't like that. It's just too busy, too much going on. So I'm going to untie the bow and just let the pom-pom ribbon hang just like the rest of the streamers on the tag. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to heat emboss our images, snowflake images, onto our background. So I'm happy with the coverage of the sapphire ink. Now I'm going to move on to the Stargazer ink, and I just want to add the Stargazer ink to the edges of the card. Doing this by adding a darker color to the edges of the card is going to make the middle of the card like glow and bright and be extra bright and make it really pop. So I'm going to bring in this packaging. We're just going to trim off the part at the bottom that had the fold over adhesive. So that opens that up. So now I'm also going to kind of cut along each edge. So I'm going to take my packaging, I'm going to take my panel, and I'm going to place my panel on my packaging, on top of my packaging. I'm going to remove the backer from 3 of the sides of my panel. So I'm going to open up my little pocket here and sprinkle in some of the sequins mix. So that's quite a bit. It's more than I wanted. So off camera, I went ahead and inked up a panel and die cut the sentiment out of that panel so it matches the way we inked up the panel for this shaker. And I want to make sure everything is stuck and adhered to the card well, and that it doesn't come apart later on. And with that, this card is finished. Look how pretty that is. Look at all those colors. So the very first thing that I want to do to start creating these cards is to create my background. So I'm going to bring in that Snowflake embossing folder and a piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in 80 pound. And I'm going to just spritz this paper just a little bit just to make it a little moist so that when I run it through my embossing machine, the embossing takes to the paper really well. So I want to make sure that I accent these snowflakes. So I'm going to run my brayer across my Spun Sugar Distress ink. And I'm going to lightly run my brayer across the raised area of my embossed paper. And what that's going to do is going to turn my snowflakes pink. If you just use a light hand, you will be able to get your raised areas of your embossed paper and not the other parts. Now that I have all the die cut pieces ready to go, I'm going to do a little bit of inking on the die cuts to give them some dimension so that they kind of don't just all fall flat on the card. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some Stormy Sky blue ink, and I'm going to ink up the edges of my mugs, the blue mugs, with the Stormy Sky. Now that I've done that, I'm going to bring in my silver embossing powder and a coffee filter, and I'm just going to sprinkle some of that embossing powder across my stamped images. And this is going to give me the silver images that I'm going to later heat set. So sprinkle some of that silver embossing powder, and the coffee filter is going to catch all of my excess powder and allow me to pour it back into my little jar there. My heat tool was warming up on the side, so now I'm going to bring that in and melt this silver embossing powder and finish off these larger sentiments. You guys know that these Stampin' Up! Foam squares are my absolute favorite. So I'm applying a couple of those to the back of my hearts that, remember, I puffed those up using my my stylus. So now those foam squares in the back of the hearts are going to make sure that the puffiness stays standing up. Now it's time to dry fit all the sentiments and kind of figure out where everything needs to go. Some of the sub-sentiments go before the larger scripty sentiment, but some of them go after the sentiment. So got to kind of figure out how I'm going to lay everything out and how it's all going to fit together on the card. So I'm going to secure this last sentiment down, and then we're going to move on. So I was kind of going for a little bit of a candy cane kind of sweet treat kind of look for this. So I'm going to start with the Kitsch Flamingo. And we're going to start with our lightest color in the middle. And we're going to move our way out to the edges, adding darker and deeper color as we go. So I already know that I want to use these small etched rectangle dies from Lawn Fawn to cut out a panel that I'm going to cut my sentiment from. I like the little pierced edge detail that comes with this, so that's why I'm using these dies. So now that I've cut the panel out with the pierced edging, I'm going to go ahead and use that sentiment from the Naughty Reindeer die set, and I'm going to place that into my, my panel that I created there and die cut that out. That's how we're using the negative or the reverse part of the image. So I put an acrylic block on top of that panel to make sure that everything has a moment to dry and secure, and has a little weight on it to help with that. And now we're going to assemble our card. So once we get that attached to our card base, we're going to add just a few embellishments to this card, and then we'll be done. I felt at this point that the card was looking a little simple, so I brought in some Pinkfresh Studio gems in bubblegum. That's a beautiful pink color. I'm going to add a few of those to our card and secure those down with the Artis liquid craft glue as well. I hope you all have enjoyed this look back at some of my previous Christmas craft videos. Be sure to check out these videos in their full length in the playlist that are linked below. Again, I want to thank you for joining me for another video on my YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Delta Crafter, as well as on my website, thedeltacrafter.com. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel to join the Delta Crafter family. Until next time, everyone, enjoy! Happy holidays!